Hey everyone, Sky Films here. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while, but I would like to do a quick review of Incredibles 2. I've been really excited for this film and I've been waiting for it for a while, and now I finally got to see it, and it's pretty good. It does not hit the same strides as the original, but it does its own thing in its own kind of way. And first, the good stuff about it, the really good stuff, without any spoilers. Spoiler-free review. The good stuff is the family dynamic, similar to the first one. Whenever they have the family, the director, writer, Brad Bird is really good at that. And I kind of liked the side characters were a little interesting, and seeing how each person interacts in this new environment, it was fun. So that part I really liked, and that part was really fleshed out. The main issues lie within, I felt that when it tried to be the original, it felt a little phony to me. It felt like they were trying to do something that the original did and bring it up to a 20. Now it's going to be this scene from the last movie, only they curse more, only there's more violence, so it's going to be more edgy, right? But it makes the original one a little more mature because it could do everything. Like the first one had such a high body count without it being violent or gruesome. This one feels the need to kind of show its edginess, and instead of making slight references to 50 shows and stuff in the first one, put it right out in the open and be like, okay, here's a reference to this, here's a reference to that. That's, you remember Twilight Zone, you remember this, and the references are a little more boisterous and not as subtle. So that is a little bit of an issue, but it's still enjoyable. It's still, you get to see the family again, and it's a little disappointing that you don't get those superhero action things, but because the first movie is so perfect and really good and almost untouchable, the next step for the family, it was kind of obvious that Brad Bird wrote himself into a corner with it, because they couldn't just be doing the same thing over and over or get boring. So he kind of had to break it up again. It was a little bit of forced drama, but at the same time, there's a little bit of commentary there about how we view society, how we trust in things, kind of why we should trust in supers, what makes it different, are humans worse, and stuff like that, where it felt honestly like Batman v Superman, what it was trying to do, but never completed because you couldn't fully trust in Superman. But this one, it felt like a completed cycle, and diving into the superheroes being illegal, it got a lot more interesting with different things. I felt like there was an extra hour to this film because it feels a little choppy. It feels like, there was more that they could have added and they cut out just because of time. So you see that here and there. But overall, if you're a fan of the original, definitely see it. I'm not going to say it's going to be the one you've always wanted. It's not going to be the Incredibles 2 that everyone expected, but it's pretty decent for what it is. And also, if you're not a fan of Incredibles at all, definitely see it. It stands on its own without, if the first Incredibles didn't exist, this is still a really good film. So definitely go out and see it. But because the first one exists, that's like the biggest struggle this movie has. It has this really big movie, this thing that Brad Bird worked years on, in its shadow, and it's like, how do we live up to it? So it kind of doesn't, and kind of just goes off and does his own thing, which is fine. And when it matches the original, it does a neat little callback. It doesn't feel forced at all, and they try bringing it in different directions, and it's starting. It feels like by the end of the movie, it just starts to get a little different, but it ends too soon to be too incredibly different from the first one. So it tries its best to do something new, but Disney kind of knew it had to have the same things as the original or no one would see it. Brad Bird definitely had some kind of really ambitious script, I think, first draft of this movie, and Disney probably just said no. We can't do that. That's too much, and we can't be doing that. But so there was like this healthy compromise between him and the studio, probably. That's what you see. So it's not as bad of a comparison as Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, because Finding Dory is kind of like a weak kids movie on its own, but this movie is great on its own. It's just it's one of the things that I wish Incredibles wasn't so incredibly great. I wish the first one wasn't this good because it just completely overshadows it. So I definitely say go in expecting something new, trying to have an open mind, and don't think you're gonna be feeling the same power, the same strength that the first one did, because it doesn't fully meet that, but it has its own strengths, and it does things that the first one doesn't do. So have an open mind, enjoy it. I give it an 8 out of 10, and if you're curious of what I think of the first one, 9 out of 10. One of my favorite Pixar films of all time. Thank you all for watching. See y'all next time.